Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Padamayam Dadati Sapadantikam Namaham Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Shatarine Vanchakapatarubhyascha Kripashindu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Thank you all for being here. And in the middle of a cyclone, thank you for taking the trouble to come. It means you are the most enthusiastic ones. So I feel like you're very fortunate. You live right here, right near Prabhupada's office, and you can come and speak to him about the business of Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada said Mumbai is his office, so you can come and speak to him. And Radharani Bihari, always so dear to him. He wanted, Harjata was telling me, he wanted their picture in Vrindavan, right where he could see it all the time. So they put the picture of Ras Bihari right at his bed, right at near the foot of his bed, so when he would sit up, he would see Ras Bihari. So, and Prabhupada said it was a good fight, right? He was very happy to have such a good fight to keep the promise he made to Radharani Bihari. So you're so fortunate to come see him. So we were asked to speak about envy and how to attain steadiness in devotional service. So we thought, because I'm the more envious of the two, I'll speak about envy, and Vishaka will speak about steadiness in devotional service. If that's okay with you. So if we look at Bhagavad Gita, there are a couple places where this concept of envy is discussed. The first one that comes to mind is the 9th chapter. Should I be leaving space for translation? Yeah? Okay. So at the beginning of the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Shri Bhagavanu Vacha idam tute guyatamam pravakshami anasuyave Jnanam Vijnanam Sahitam Yajgyatva Mokshase Shubhat. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, My dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most confidential knowledge and realization, knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of material existence. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that the commentaries of envious persons are useless. So we will see if we can speak following Prabhupada's line without envy. Those who are mundane scholars, who don't accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, their commentaries are useless. And then in the 18th chapter, again, there's a verse where Krishna says, toward the end, Krishna says, this confidential knowledge may never be explained to those who are not austere or devoted or engaged in devotional service, nor to one who is envious of me. So we need to understand that the process of bhakti is a reciprocation. It's just like in kirtan, there's a call and a response. There's a call and a response. It's always a reciprocation between the speaker and the hearer. Prabhupada would give the example of if a woman is fertile and if a man is potent, then there will be a pregnancy. There will be a conception, there'll be a pregnancy. So in these verses you can see it's directed at the speaker and again at the hearer. So the speaker cannot be envious and the hearer cannot be envious, otherwise there won't, you could say that conception is the appearance of Krishna. Krishna won't appear in that sangha if the speaker is envious or if the hearer is envious. So we have to try to come to that place of being anusuyave, right? Not envious. Right? So first I'll ask you a question. What is envy? Yes? Jealousy? Okay. Jealousy, yeah. Jealousy that I want something that you have. Someone else? Yes? What's that? Parasukha dukkhi. If someone is happy, I am not happy. Seeing someone's good fortune, I become jealous of them. Yeah, that's a typical envy, right? Yes? You don't like the other person being successful. Try to pull them down. Yeah. Generally in material consciousness, people like everyone to be the same, mediocre. And if someone excels, someone has to say, oh, really, maybe it looked good, but the motive was very bad. So yeah, jealousy, envy, these are the mundane qualities that we have to get rid of in our hearts. Right? And I was thinking that this is a gathering of ladies, except for one gentleman, and one young man somewhere who's playing. Right? You're the only two minority. So, actually Prabhupada said in any spiritual gathering, the women will always be in the majority, right? So this, in fact, it's true. So, I was thinking also, even as children, sometimes if you see little children playing in the playground, maybe the boys will be punching each other, fighting, running around, and the girls maybe won't be doing that so much, but they'll say, I'm not going to be your friend. I won't play with you. Something like that. So it's interesting that, we can say that men are not envious, but sometimes men are more physical in their expressions, and maybe women are more, keep those feelings inside and are often jealous or, So how do we get rid of these qualities? It's a separatist mentality, you would say. Thinking that my interest is separate from Krishna's interest. Thinking that somehow I can benefit without seeing the benefit of all living beings. If we see ourselves as connected to Krishna, then actually in the Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter, in the 34th verse, there's directions there how to approach spiritual life, that one must approach a spiritual master, inquire from him submissively, and render service unto such a spiritual master. And then in the very next verse, it explains what one learns from an authentic spiritual master. One learns to be... You want to read 435? 435, okay. So here's Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse 35. Having obtained real knowledge from a self-realized soul, you will never fall again into such illusion. That you could say envy is an illusion, right? Envy of other living beings. For by this knowledge you will see that all living beings are but part of the Supreme, or in other words, they are mine. So when we're envious, we're thinking that my interest is separate from this person's interest. And Krishna, he's separate also. But when we come to real knowledge, we understand that everything is part of Krishna and belongs to Krishna. Everything is beloved to Krishna. There's one place in the Chaitanya Bhagavat where Lord Chaitanya says that every living being is my beloved part and parcel. And if someone causes harm to any one of these beloved living beings, they will be destroyed. There will be some, in other words, if you are envious or you cause harm to anyone, you will be the one to suffer. It's like drinking poison and hoping the other person will die. I drink poison and I think you're going to die, right? So that's how terrible envy is. But if I understand that my purpose is to please Krishna, and if I please Krishna, the best way to please Krishna is to serve his devotees, right? To serve his devotees. This is the way Krishna says that he will be pleased, by serving the devotees, right? And then it's like, we read so much in our literature about approaching the lotus feet of Krishna. So the devotees are always situated at Krishna's lotus feet. They represent Krishna's lotus feet. So by loving the devotees, serving the devotees, we can approach Krishna. There's the example Prabhupada gives of, there may be a very big man, maybe in Mumbai. Who's the most famous and rich person in Mumbai? Mr. who? Ambani? Mr. Ambani. So if you want to go see Mr. Ambani this morning, and maybe you tried to make an appointment, but you couldn't because he doesn't know you, you go there and he says, I don't have time, this person doesn't have an appointment. But if you see his little toddler, you can give him a little candy, right? And then maybe the big man will be pleased. So in this way, Krishna thinks of his devotees so lovingly. Approach him through his devotees. So we got a definition of envy. What is the opposite of envy? Loving. What else? Service. Nice. Loving service. What else? To be self-satisfied. That's a nice explanation. To be steady. Okay. What's that? Pleasure. What about in terms of relating to other people? Cooperation. Very good. What else? What's that? Compatible. Anybody else have a thought? The opposite of envy in terms of other. Caring. To be caring. Selfless, caring. Grateful. Nice. Grateful. So these are all qualities of devotees, right? That we should have these qualities. We should try to inculcate these qualities. I want to read you. This is I think some of you were at the Sangha the other day, and we worked with this beautiful verse from Prahlad Maharaj. I think really speaks to this enviousness also, and non-enviousness. So I want to read you. This is a slightly different translation, but it's beautiful. Prahlad Maharaj says, so just think of his non-envious consciousness, how I could also maybe come to this non-envious consciousness, right? So he says, may the entire universe be blessed with peace and good hope. Really non-envious, right? I want the whole universe to be full of peace. May everyone driven by envy and enmity become pacified and reconciled. So he's hoping that all envious people will become peaceful, right? May all living beings develop abiding concern for the welfare of others. May our own hearts and minds be filled with purity and serenity. May all these blessings flow naturally from this supreme benediction. And here's the benediction. May our attention become spontaneously absorbed in the rapture of pure love unto the transcendent Lord. So he's making the point that if we love Krishna with our whole hearts, as Vishaka Prabhu was quoting the other day, Manmanav bhava mad bhakto madhyajimam maskuru mame vaisyas yuktaivam atmanam matparayana. So if we love Krishna, these blessings will flow into our hearts when we see that all living beings are connected to Krishna, and how we love Krishna and show our love to Krishna by loving all living beings. So you all gave so many good answers to my question about what is the opposite of envy. And so I wanted to speak for a few minutes about, okay, so if maybe I see within myself that I'm really quite an envious person, what am I going to do about that? Like sometimes something comes into my mind, like maybe one of my god sisters or one of my friends, I see that she's wearing a much more beautiful sari than any of the saris I have. Or maybe she sings so beautifully, or sews for the deities so beautifully, or maybe her garlands are much more expert than mine, or whatever it may be. So I feel some envy. So, first of all, I would say that's an opportunity to pray to Krishna. Not to, as they say, push it under the rug. You see the enviousness come in your heart, and then you just pretend like it's not there, just put it under the rug and go on. No, that's not a good thing to do. When I see that envious moments come into my heart, it's a very important thing to stop and pray to Krishna that this is not me. This envious mind is not me, and I don't want this envy in my heart. And then what is an antidote to envy? To maybe, as Vishaka said, gratitude, someone said, there's so many good answers, but to appreciate that person, right? To stop and take a second and think, actually, I'm envious of this person because actually she has such beautiful qualities, and I wish I also could have such nice qualities. So Krishna, please help me to develop such beautiful qualities as she has. So like flip it around, Don't leave it as envy and push it under the rug, but flip it around to be an appreciation, a gratitude to this person. Otherwise, it's toxic, and it just stays in the heart like a cancer, right? So so the opposite of envy really is gratitude and appreciation. That's the opposite, right? And someone said something very nice well, first I want to tell you this. Yamuna Devi, our beloved god sister, who you've all heard of her, maybe you've read her beautiful book, Unalloyed Devotion, A Life of Unalloyed Devotion. She said something very important in her last days. She said that the biggest problem with ISKCON devotees is that we have a sense of entitlement. We think we are God's gift to the world, we're the best, no one knows what we know, no one has what we have. We feel so entitled. So this is really the opposite of humility. It's the opposite of gratitude. It's the opposite of appreciation. So if we want to really inculcate what Prabhupada has given us, we have to become humble devotees. We have to become grateful and be full of appreciation. So here's what somebody said about entitlement that I want to read to you. It says, a sense of entitlement is a cancerous thought. It's a cancer. Entitlement, envy, it's a cancerous thought process that is void of gratitude and can be deadly in our relationships. It's like a toxic poison that kills our relationships. So if you want to have loving relationships, we have to get rid of this envy. So let me read something that Prabhupada says about gratitude. Prabhupada says in the Srimad Bhagavatam 4th canto that he says, when one actually attains good qualities, one becomes grateful for the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and takes shelter of a bona fide spiritual master, and then he will be endowed with all opulence. So some of you like to distribute books, we heard. This is the book marathon. A lot of you distribute books. Yeah? Nice. So I want to read you something Prabhupada wrote to Prabhupada's expression of gratitude to the book distributors. This is so beautiful. Prabhupada said, you are doing so much for fulfilling the desire of my spiritual master, so you are indirectly the representative of my Guru Maharaj. He has been helping me in this matter by sending so many young boys and girls. Otherwise, who would help me in this mission while I came here empty-handed and without any friend? I can only pray to Krishna to take care of you. Otherwise, I cannot repay your sincere service in my mission. So beautiful, huh? So Prabhupada says, he says only where is this? He says in one place Prabhupada says, only a foolish person is not grateful to the Supreme Personality of Godhead for all the gifts they've received. So this gratitude is a very important principle. And it's nice when you're lying in your bed at night before falling asleep. Sometimes it takes a few minutes to fall asleep. You can review in your mind all the things that you're grateful for that day. You know, maybe think very specifically today, what has come in my life that I'm grateful for. And sometimes it's just, I was given the air to breathe. I was given the water to drink, you know. I have my family. My family has a roof over their head. You know, this is gratitude. So, I want to give the microphone to my beloved God sister, Vishaka Devi. Yeah, okay, should we ask for discussion now? Okay, so maybe we should ask for a discussion on these points now, and then Vishaka Devi will speak, and then we can have a discussion on steadiness. So what do you think about enviousness? What do you think about gratitude? Yes. Yes.
If you know the other person is envious of you, how do you deal with it?
By loving and serving them, and then the enviousness will dissolve. Because if you can even, like say you know someone is, should I repeat the question?
Yes.
If you know someone is envious of you, how do you deal with that person, right? So I think a very good answer, some people are a tough nut to crack, right? Right? Some people are very tough. But you can do something like, you know, what is it called? The Radharani's flower that you gave me this morning, her little bouquet? Yeah. So, but her bouquet that comes with the handle, yeah. So, you know, maybe one day you could give that to her, you know, and say, I knew you would appreciate this. Or you can give her some Mahaprasadam. Or maybe, you know, if you see her, you can tell her, I just read such a beautiful verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, I wanted to share it with you. Maybe write it down, you know, so it's kind of special, and say, but it shouldn't be about enviousness, you know, but something about Krishna's, you know, don't give her the verse that says, enviousness, you know, but one of Krishna's beautiful qualities, something like that. And I think it melts the heart, you know, because this is the 6 exchanges of love that are described by Rupa Goswami and Upadeshamrita. So to reveal our mind in confidence, sometimes you can't reveal your mind in confidence to everyone, so it has to be a dear person. Hear someone's mind revealed, give a gift in charity, receive a gift, and give prasad. You know, give prasad, receive prasad. So I think that's the very good antidote. It really works, you know. Because sometimes even in our mind we think, oh, this person doesn't like me. You know, even if it's something just in your mind, you can, you know, go give that person the flower, give that person some Mahaprasadam, something that wasn't asked for, wasn't expected, but you can do something sweet to just melt that person's heart. Because ladies have a tendency to be, like I have a friend in Delhi, she had a cooking show on television. She's a very expert cook. She's kind of like Yamuna in the sense that she's like a kitchen wizard. She can make something taste like this, taste like that. And so some of the ladies became envious of her that, oh, I'm also a good cook. Why is she on television? You know? So sometimes there's this tendency in ladies, we have to be careful. Maybe we're not going to go punch someone like a man would do. But we have our way of twisting the knife, so we have to be careful. Is there another question? Yes.
The example is asking about, don't just push it over the knife. You need to go and stand by the Krishna. You need to pray with qualities. Is the converse also true? Can you go and also pray with the other ladies?
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's beautiful, Just pray. That's what Prahlad Maharaj is saying in this verse. May all people be pacified. So sometimes it's just in my mind, sometimes it's in her mind and my mind. But in any case, may all envious persons be pacified, starting with myself and anyone else. And if we can become, look at the character of Srila Prabhupada, look at the character of Prahlad Maharaj. When someone is like that, we have to be Hiranyakashipu to be envious of a person with such character. Like Mr. Mr. Nair. He was, so we don't want to be like him. We want to be soft-hearted. But I think it's a nice meditation to go before Krishna in your mind, or actually go before Krishna and say, please, I'm not going to carry this on my shoulders, I'll put it at your feet, because I just want to carry love for Krishna. So you're the big fire, I put it at your feet, you can burn it up. But if I carry it, my little spark can maybe become dark. Yeah? Thank you. Any other question? Yes.
We know spiritually we are indebted to many of our senior disciples, senior devotees. But every time it is not possible to show our gratitude to them directly also. But still we wanted to show it some way, but we could not do it. So what can we do? Maybe the devotee may not understand that he may be expecting something from us, and they may understand, they may think that we are not showing our gratitude. But inside from our heart we wanted to show that gratitude, but some situation comes that where we could not actually show gratitude. So what can we actually do at that situation that we cannot?
Well, I think it's important to, like they say, pay it back. Pay it back. You want to pay it back. I think it's important to pay it forward also. Because what about, senior devotees, that's one thing. They get a lot of respect. What about the newest person who walked in the temple? Sometimes you hear someone say, I came to the temple in here or there and no one talked to me. I was invisible. Nobody said hello to me. Nobody said anything. And so it took me 5 years to come back. After 5 years I came back and somebody said hello to me. So it's not just senior devotees, but it's every living being, right? Every living being should be honored and be respected. Sometimes we never know, the person who you think has just come in the temple and maybe they're wearing a t-shirt and pants and they just look like a materialist. Maybe that person is such a great devotee, just picking up from their last life, and maybe that person one day will be your own child's guru. You know what I'm saying? You don't know who that person is. So, so pay it. And in your mind you can offer respect, in different ways you can offer respect, but I think that's a most important point, to welcome the newest people. Is everything okay? Did you get prasadam? That's so important. Jai. So, yes, one other question. Are you able to hear properly? You're not able to hear? I wasn't speaking into the microphone properly? Oh, the translation. Should I repeat something? Oh, repeat the questions. Okay, repeat the questions. So your question was about how sometimes you want to offer respect to a senior person, senior devotee, but you don't have the opportunity, you don't know how. It's a very nice question. So I was saying that's a nice thing. You can offer respect in your mind so many ways. But what about the newest person who just walked into the temple? Maybe that person is not being treated nicely. So that's very important. Senior people get a lot of respect, especially in India. Everyone is very respectful. If you want to feel some disrespect, you can come to America. But I think it's very important, because sometimes someone comes to the temple for the first time and no one talks to them. Was there another question that you needed repeated? No? Okay, so I'm going to give the mic to the more steady, non-envious, and wise person.
Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachayana Nirvasaya Sasinyavadi Pasyata Deshatarana Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So I want to thank my dear God sister Rukmini Prabhu for that beautiful. No, it was true. It's a confirmation. A beautiful discussion about envy and overcoming envy. Such an important topic. Sorry. It needs to be louder? Okay. Is that better? Okay. Sorry. Uh-oh. Sorry. Try once more. So we move to the topic of steadiness, another very important topic. And I think this topic was also assigned by God sister. So I'll just read one verse from Bhagavad Gita in relation to steadiness, a very important verse from the second chapter, text 41. Vyavaya asatmika buddhir ekeha kurunandana Bahushaka hyanantascha buddhayo vyavasayinam. In the Prabhupada's translation, those who are on this path are resolute in purpose and their aim is one. O beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many-branched. So the idea being, as Prabhupada points out in the purport, that our steadiness or our resolute determination in Krishna consciousness is not based on anything whimsical. It's based on solid knowledge. Now, with a solid basis of knowledge, then we can hope and also faith in that knowledge. Then we can approach this wonderful quality of steadiness. Prabhupada says, the resolute purpose of a person in Krishna consciousness is based on knowledge. Vasudeva Savramiti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. A person in Krishna consciousness is the rare good soul who knows perfectly that Vasudeva, or Krishna, is the root of all manifested causes. So this knowledge, Prabhupada repeatedly told us, we are not these bodies. We are not Indian, we're not American, we're not any nationality, we're not any religion, we're not Hindu, we're not Muslim, we're not Christian, we're not old or young, we're not male or female. We are spiritual beings, we're spirit souls, we are eternal. And as eternal spiritual beings who are part and parcel of Krishna, we have also an eternal function. And that function is to serve Krishna. And that is eternal. Bhakti is eternal. So that means whatever goes on, and so many things will go on and have gone on and are going on, whatever it is that's material, it will come and go. Just like the winter season, now we have a cyclone. So the cyclone has come, but we know it will go. Similarly, summer comes and goes, winter comes and goes. So the various traumas in our life, the various trials and tests of our life will also come and go. They are material. But what is eternal is that we are spiritual beings. We have an eternal relationship with this amazingly beautiful personality, Lord Sri Krishna. And we can develop that relationship. So if we keep these simple, basic, foundational facts in the forefront, then we can understand that these other things shouldn't influence us. And that way we can attain some degree of steadiness. So I have a question for you. what would you say is the greatest challenge for you to steadiness? Your greatest challenge to being steady? Sorry? Conditioning? Something maybe, yes, but maybe something more specific? What aspect of it? Attachment to material comforts. Say it again. Proprietorship. So how would you say that proprietorship interrupts steadiness?
Because I didn't know mine. I have this thing that I have done it. I and mine. It's not him, it's just I.
Ignoring Krishna as the supreme giver. Very nice.
Trying to strike a balance between material and spiritual life, because we are all also into materialistic setup. Trying to balance both, sometimes becomes a big challenge.
Very nice. Trying to balance our material responsibilities and our spiritual aspirations. Yeah, very good. Very true. Yes?
Desires.
Can you be more specific?
Desires.
Greed. Desires, yes.
To have more and more. Always very satisfied.
Yes. Wanting more material things. Yes.
Controlling the mind and the senses.
That's a huge one. Controlling the mind and senses. The mind will drag us and say, this isn't good enough, I want something more. The senses will drag us like wild horses. Very true. So amidst all these pulls that are dragging us to become unsteady, that are testing us, what we can try to do is evoke great hope, that despite all these trials and tribulations, still that we have great hope. So in that regard, I have a beautiful prayer to read to you, assuming the technology cooperates. This is from Nectar of Devotion. It's called Asha Bandha. Asha means hope or desire, and Bandha means bound up. So we become bound up to Krishna by great hope. The strong conviction that one will certainly receive the favor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is called in Sanskrit Asha Bandha. Asha Bandha means to continue to think, because I'm trying my best to follow the routine principles of devotional service, I am sure that I will go back home, back to Godhead. In this connection, one prayer by Rupa Goswami is sufficient to exemplify this hopefulness. He says, I have no love for Krishna, nor for the causes of developing love of Krishna, namely hearing and chanting. And the process of bhakti yoga by which one is always thinking of Krishna and fixing his lotus feet in the heart is also lacking in me. As far as philosophical knowledge or pious works are concerned, I don't see any opportunity for me to execute such activities. But above all, I am not even born of a nice family. Therefore, I must simply pray to you, Gopi Jana Ballabha, Krishna, maintainer and beloved of the gopis. I simply wish and hope that some way or other I may be able to approach your lotus feet. And this hope is giving me pain, because I think myself quite incompetent to approach that transcendental goal of life. The purport is, this is Prabhupada writing, the purport is that under this heading of Ashabandha, one should continue to hope against hope that some way or other he will be able to approach the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. So as we pointed out, all of you pointed out so nice, we have our conditioning, we have our sense of proprietorship, I and mine, we have the wild senses, we have desires for material comforts, and we struggle with these things daily, but we maintain this great hope that despite all our disqualifications, despite our lowly birth, despite all the tests that Krishna or Maya is throwing at us, still somehow or other, Krishna will accept us at his lotus feet, accept our humble service to him. And in that way we can maintain this steady approach to Lord Krishna, despite everything. So perhaps there's some thoughts you have about these points? Oh, yeah, the bell just rang. So yeah, we're almost out of time. Perhaps there's some thoughts or discussion about these points, either about enviness or steadiness before we close for today. About hope, yes, about hope also. Oh, I'm so sorry. I guess. Okay, we just might get that feedback again. Yeah, we did. Any points that anyone would like to raise? Or questions for Rukmini? Yes.
Sometimes a person can be in a good situation because of like previous karmas, and that can produce some envy to others. For example, Prabhupada, when he started a movement to get very, very famous, very popular, and there were certainly some people who were envious of Prabhupada. So, how was Prabhupada's approach towards those envious?
So the question is that the example is there of Srila Prabhupada when he became successful with the Hare Krishna movement, ISKCON society. Some people became envious. So how did Prabhupada deal with those envious people? So there were different approaches that I would say Srila Prabhupada had. Probably Rukmini Prabhu can add to it also. But sometimes he would be very straightforward and say that people are envious of me. Actually, the proper mood is that if we see some Vaishnava doing some service for Krishna, as Rukmini Prabhu was saying, our hearts should become full with joy to see we all have the same goal. We want to please Krishna. Every Vaishnava has one goal, to please Radha Krishna. So who pleases Radha Krishna? That's, whoever pleases Radha Krishna, we feel happy with that. So Prabhupada said one of the tests to see our own level of advancement is to see if we are envious. If we are envious, we're in this material world. And if we're free from envy, we're in the spiritual world. So this is a very critical point. And Prabhupada would preach in terms of giving people this knowledge and helping us to understand that this is a form of conditioning that we must eradicate from our hearts in order to give pleasure to Krishna. One beautiful analogy that helps me is that if you think that we have a large garden, and within this garden there are different plots, smaller plots of land. So each one of us has a little plot. And our desire with our little plot of land is to give some very nutritious fruits or vegetables or flowers to the Lord. So we can try, if we see someone in the next plot who has a beautiful fruit or flower or vegetable, we can feel happy for that. We can try to help that person. Why begrudge them? Why deny them? Why try to cut them down? No, this is something they can offer to the Lord, and perhaps we can help them, we can encourage them, we can get inspiration. How did they do that? So I can do that in my plot. But there's no reason to begrudge them. It doesn't help me, it doesn't help them. In fact, it does the opposite. It brings me farther and farther from Krishna. So Prabhupada could explain in this way so that we could see clearly that this envious mentality is so detrimental for everyone, especially for me, if I have this envious mentality. And so perhaps somebody might be envious of Prabhupada, but at least we would have the clarity to see what's going on and try to ourselves pull that out of our heart, that terrible weed. Would you like to add to it?
while Vishaka Prabhu was speaking, I was thinking, why is Radharani so dear to Krishna? Because she's so selfless, and so she always wants to recommend someone else as being better than her. So if we want to serve in the mood of Radharani and her dearest gopis, we have to also be in that mood, that this devotee is better than me, Krishna, please accept them. That's the mood of Radharani. If we're trying to put ourselves forward, then we're not in that mood of the residents of Vrindavan, the gopis of Vrindavan, right? Radharani is so selfless. Krishna likes that so much. Actually, she would like the other gopis to be standing next to Krishna, but because she knows Krishna's pleased when she stands there, so she's standing next to him, but she would be happy to have her friends there. So. Other questions?
Can you describe us about some points or something to achieve steadiness? Can you lay down some points, Mataji, something to achieve steadiness? To achieve steadiness when doing Mahamantra, or any form of steadiness, can you guide us?
What was the last one?
In chanting the Mahamantra or any form of steadiness.
So the question is, some guidelines about any form of steadiness? Yeah, that's a very important question. And I would say this program that Prabhupada gave us of sadhana, that leads to steadiness. Sadhana means daily practice without fail. I may want to do it, I may not want to do it, I may be busy, may have so many obligations, but sadhana means whatever my mind is going through, still I'm there chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, 16 rounds every day, as much as I can. I do temple seva, come and at least take darshan of the deities. So this sadhana, that whatever else is going on in the world, politically, socially, economically, in my own life, with my own body, still the sadhana is there day after day after day. And Krishna sees that. It's not that we can artificially become steady, but by pleasing Krishna, He will help us. And when He sees our desire through this practice of sadhana, then there's some hope that He will come and allow us to be steady, allow us to be free of envy, allow us to be full of faith, have unflinching faith in that way. Would you like to add?
Oh, I was just thinking that just like they say drops of water can wear away stone. So if you have continuous drops of water on a piece of stone, gradually it can wear down, you know. So, yeah, and then Krishna is looking to see how much we want. You know, he's anxious to give us the whole spiritual world, but you know, we have to show him our steadiness, and then he will give his grace. Yeah. Yeah, this example of drops of water wearing away stone is very powerful, because if you think of how the whole process of Krishna consciousness is meant to bring us to the point of crying for Krishna, right? It's not about the externals, but we want to learn to cry for Krishna. So there's drops of water wearing away stone, little by little that stone, you know, the hard rocks can crack, because with the weather, sometimes the weather's cold, sometimes it's hot, so the sediment in rock is freezing and thawing, gets contracted, expanded, so the rock will break, right? And then it breaks into smaller and smaller rocks, and then it breaks into pebbles, and then it breaks into sand, and then it can become, then seeds can come and grow in the sand, you know, it becomes fertile ground, so that seeds can come and take root. So really it's a metaphor for the process of Krishna consciousness, because we want that seed of bhakti to take root in our hearts. Vishaka Prabhu gave the example of the garden. So we want to grow beautiful bhakti creepers that will grow up and bloom with beautiful flowers and fruits. The bhakti creeper is not supposed to just be a barren, tall stick. It's supposed to be a very fertile plant that gives flowers and fruits. So that when we learn to cry for Krishna, then the stone heart becomes broken, little by little, by those seeds, those drops of that continuous sadhana. But then those tears crying for Krishna, then the rock hard heart can break and crack, and the bhakti creeper can grow. So, and how do you show someone you love? Like maybe there's a husband, and he says to, you're all mostly married ladies, right? Maybe the husband says, oh, I love you, but he goes every day, every week when he gets his paycheck, he goes to the bar. He doesn't bring it home. The wife is struggling. She's got to feed the kids, but he goes to the bar. He doesn't bring home the paycheck. But I love you. Well, you have to show how you love, right? You have to show by your actions. So Prabhupada, in such a brilliant way, translated bhakti as devotional service, right? Loving service, love in action. So many other people translated just love, But Prabhupada wanted us to know that real love means love in action. You love, you show how you love, so you show up. If you love someone, you show up for them. Right? Sorry. Two more minutes? Yeah? Is there one more question for Vishaka Devi?
It was beautiful, Mataji. As she rightly said, we are all housewives running a home, and very nicely you emphasize that for us, Srila Prabhupada said, steadiness for us is in solid knowledge. So, can that be converted into reading Srila Prabhupada's books? And if yes, can you just emphasize a little bit more to all of us the importance of reading Srila Prabhupada's books? Because that is a solid knowledge as a result of steadiness.
Very nice. So the question is, in relation to steadiness, and can we achieve steadiness by regularly reading Srila Prabhupada's books? So the answer is resounding yes. That Prabhupada sacrificed his early morning hours day after day, minimized his sleeping to translate these books from Sanskrit to English. And he would sometimes chide us. He would say, you were distributing this book, and if someone says, so what is in the book? And you say, I don't know what's in the book, I'm just distributing the book. He said, no, he's writing the books for us. He sacrificed so much of his sleep, of his energy, at such an elderly age, because he wanted us to have this knowledge so that we could be steady, so that we could eradicate envy, so our faith would grow and blossom. And so we should take it, whether we like to read or we don't like to read, that doesn't matter, that's irrelevant. We take it that this is how we're reciprocating with Srila Prabhupada, by every day setting aside some time, as much time as we can, to actually focus on what he's giving us in his purports and translations. And we will find that by doing that, Krishna will help. We may understand, we may not understand. Prabhupada himself, he said when he first met his Guru Maharaj spoke in a very elevated way. And Prabhupada said, I didn't understand everything he was saying, but nonetheless, he sat and he listened. Even sometimes we were traveling with Prabhupada in India, a few Westerners. Usually he tried to speak in English, but sometimes he would speak in Bengali, sometimes in Hindi. And he told us, if you sit and just hear, even though you don't understand one word, still it is purifying. It's the sound vibration from such an exalted personality. So similarly, we read, we may understand, we may not understand, just try to pay attention, and Krishna will see that attempt, and that will please him. And that is our goal, to please Krishna. And this is one very simple way of doing it. We can do it in our home, we can do it at work, we can do it wherever we are. Now we have this technology. All the Prabhupada's books are right here in this thing. It weighs 1 pound, perhaps. So there's really no excuse. Thank you, that was a wonderful question. And thank you all for coming and for your attention and for your enthusiasm for Krishna consciousness. Much, much appreciated. All glories to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.